So in the entire time that I've had a sort of YouTube channel where I would basically artwork any Harry Potter or Star Wars Lego theories of things I'd like to see, maybe why we haven't seen things, or things that we may well see in the future to mark an anniversary. I have maybe done a dozen, maybe 20 plus Harry Potter Lego theories about sets I'd love to see and when I'd like to see them. And two things consistently come up in comment sections on different platforms after I've released these videos. The first of which I've already covered a few weeks ago, which was to do with the idea of module Harry Potter sets, or Harry Potter sets that we haven't seen that are buildings that I think would suit the modular system. And that is of course the Leaky Cauldron. Everybody seems to want a Leaky Cauldron. It seems to me only a matter of time before we do get a D2C or a modular version of the Leaky Cauldron. Maybe it is in a Back to Hogwarts September 1st build in the not too distant future. Wouldn't it be ironic if we got one this September and I could play this clip back? That's all very meta. That's just sort of messed with my head there a bit. The second of which, however, is the idea that we are missing one of the Triwizard Tournament sets. Now, in a recent video, I got a comment on the video saying that they are missing the idea of the Triwizard Tournament set, particularly the part of the final task where you can see all of the hedge work and all of the sort of entrance towards the maze that, of course, turns out to lead straight to Tom Riddle's grave. But I think that this is something that I have thought about myself. Looked over the Triwizard and Goblet of Fire sets that I already do have. We of course got the Durmstrad ship and Beauxbaton carriage last year, and I think that ship looks fantastic. It's one that I really enjoyed. The lake set as well is one that I built last year, nostalgically reminiscing about the Goblet of Fire set that I had in 2005, that Triwizard lake set. We of course have seen Duel with the Horntail as well a couple of years ago. That's only been retired for a couple of years. All three of these scenes have sort of been covered, and you've also got the graveyard duel with Voldemort that was covered a couple of years ago. The one thing that hasn't been yet covered, however, is of course the entrance to that final task where you've got the maze, you've got the hedge, you've got Dumbledore on his plinth, you've got the four entrance, and of course you've got that sort of stand area where all the students are sort of gathered to cheer everybody on. I think that this as a set would be a really nice set. It's one that hopefully they would make in the future. With this, it kind of reminds me of when I spoke about, for those who are Lego Star Wars fans, the idea of us getting a Master Builder series version of a Geonosis arena, something that would be like this idea of a gladiatorial sort of venue. And when you do that, of course, with a stadium, we've seen football stadiums done by Lego over the last couple of years, there is the issue of how many minifigures you could get in the seating area. And I do see this being as a potential problem for a set like this. However, I will say that this is still something I would really like to see. It would probably be slightly minifigure heavy. You would certainly need one or two minifigures to fill up the rafters, as it were, as well as needing obviously the main figures that would go into the maze, by which I think you could probably just get away with having Harry and Cedric. I'm not entirely sure whether you would have Victor Krum and Fleur Delacour in there as well. It's certainly a possibility given that we've just had new molds for them in 2024 with the ship and carriage. But I do think that if you kept this to Cedric Diggory and you kept this to Harry and maybe Mad Eye and maybe Amos as well, wouldn't that be really nice if we got an Amos Diggory figure to go in the Lego Harry Potter collection, and you had some sort of bushy areas sort of that resembled the hedge and the maze that they were about to go down into. I think that would be fantastic. It's something that would maybe lend itself to a play set with maybe some Technic pins underneath it where you could move the hedges around so that you would be able to create some kind of play area where sort of minifigures would get lost within the maze. That would certainly be nice. There's some raw ideas there. I certainly think it's possible that this kind of thing is achievable to do, and it's something that I would personally would buy as a Lego Harry Potter fan. I think that they need to work out how they would do a set like this. Could you do it as a diorama? Possibly not. There's nothing that I believe, sort of when I think about dioramas, of which I have a number of them sort of behind me here, there's always a quote, a plaque quote, something that is sort of reminiscent of that scene. I'm not entirely sure whether it would lend itself to a diorama. I like the idea of it being a play set where on Technic sort of pins you could move the hedges of the maze around. But again, price would be the issue with this set. You're going to need half a dozen minifigures at least just to make it a notable scene. And of course, how much in terms of hedge work do you just are you able to create with the pieces provided? It's a really interesting theory. It's a comment that when I saw it, it has come up before, and it's one that I felt like sort of raising in its own video because it is something I've thought about. It's naturally the missing Triwizard Tournament set, which may well be the title of this video. I think it is doable. Is it practical? I'm not entirely sure. What would that look like? How much of the scenery do you make? How many minifigures can you put in there? Because if you're going to put 6+, or you're going to get to that 8-10 minifigure mark, it's suddenly going to become £100 sort of triple figure set. How desirable is it at that point? I'm not entirely sure. Really interesting thought, really interesting theory, and the kind of theory that this channel kind of was sort of born on, which is the idea of sets that we haven't seen yet. Why haven't we seen them, and could we see them? And I think we've sort of touched on all three of those questions in this particular video. And if it is a video that you've enjoyed, please do drop a like on it. And if you're a Lego Harry Potter fan, stay tuned because we've got a ton of Lego Harry Potter stuff still to come throughout 2025 on the channel. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Do drop a comment on this video if there's a Lego Harry Potter set that you would like to see in the future. And if there is, you may well get shouted out in the next video, just like I have done today. Thank you so much for watching. It's sincerely appreciated. I hope you have an awesome and a magical week, and I will see you in the very next video. Bye.